Darkness guide you, child. You have outgrown this house, of that I am now certain. Should you return again here, I shall keep you safe. Darkness guide you, child. Take care of yourself, child. I shall be watching over you in our house alike. Do not concern yourself about your father. I shall be watching him. Fear not for Cerberus. He is well taken care of in your absence and well fed. Go, fulfill your purpose, child. Your fate lies somewhere past these walls, child. You are always welcome in my company, child. Do not despair and hold to your resolve, child. Remember there are those who love you, child. Do not let circumstances rattle your resolve, child. Thank you for visiting me, child. Such brief exchanges gladden me, my child. Your father is the same as ever, child. Someday you shall achieve your heart's desire, child. The life the fates apportion to you lies ahead, my child. May you discover what you seek, my child. I shall keep you safe during your stay here, child. I am well, though thank you for your remembering me, child. I am filled with joy to see you whole, my child. Always am I grateful for your company, my child. You are most generous to visit with me, child. You look rather well on this occasion, child. It pleases me having these brief exchanges, child. My faith in you has never faltered, child. Is there something I can do for you, my child? Is anything the matter, child? I shall support you however I can, my child. How can I possibly accept such generosity, my child? Surely others whom you know are more deserving of such offerings. Your kindness toward me is unnecessary, child. You know I have no expectation of such gifts from you or anyone. You honor me, my child, although I dread that I am not deserving of such generosity. There is no need to flatter me like this. No gift which you could bring me can exceed the value of our kinship, child, though it moves me to receive this offering. You have come home. You are home. A welcome sight. I sense your worry for me, child, yet would seek to disabuse you of the sentiment. Though your journeys take you elsewhere, still it pleases me to see you, child. I trust that the mirror in your bedchamber has proved satisfactory, dear child. You appear to have grown stronger since when we last interacted, child. Your bedroom mirror may appear to be the cause, but then of course the real cause is you. I sense the growing darkness in you, child. I am so very proud of you. You always have been capable, yet now you seem to radiate with new-found power. The unfathomable power of the underworld thrives within you, child. Your godliness has grown since last we spoke. You have learned much of harnessing the dark. Before you go, my child, your father's mood is rather difficult right now. Perhaps just leave him be. Oh, my dear child. So now you know. So now you know. But only half the truth. I can explain the rest, so please. It never was my wish to hurt you. Your mother yet lives. There can be no other explanation. For if she did not, she would be with us, here. She was a good woman. Stately. Kind. I wished to raise you as I thought she would have. You have encountered setbacks within Asphodel, have you not, child? The bloodless shades residing there are eager to bring death to any form of life. Beware of their infernal power. Primordial chaos. Indeed, I know them well. They must have taken interest in your quest. I would advise that you beware their offerings, though know that chaos, whilst a trickster, is not a deceiver. My place is not to speak too openly of chaos, child. It is their own prerogative to tell you of themselves. I can say they are the eldest force within this world. Before them, there was nothing. They mentioned me, did they? I thought, perhaps, that they had long forgotten. You should know they are my mother and my father, child. We have not spoken since the dawn of time. It is for chaos to reach out to me if they wish to reacquaint themselves with me. Child, it would please me if we spoke no more of this for now. The house shall stand eternally, although in what condition it is ours to decide. Our obligation is to keep the house in order. The Fury Megara is under orders to prevent your passage out of Tartarus, my child. Conflict between the two of you is unavoidable. It brings me pain to have to see you fight. You must have vanquished Megara, my child, for she has been sulking in the lounge for quite some time. You are safe here from her whip, but not her words. And after that, Dusa, you are to clean the rafters once again and prune the gardens thoroughly. By then it should be time to tend the kitchens and sweep the lounging area a second time. Your expertise has readied him, Achilles, yet I sense it is your confidence in him which spurs him on. Do not lose faith in yourself now, lest soon he do the same. The gods of Mount Olympus tend to think themselves above us, child, or so your father often likes to say. He alone was relegated to this realm, and grew resentful of his relatives on high. Thanatos has finally come home. Have you not seen him, child? He has been very much preoccupied of late. It must have gladdened him to see you once again. Thanatos is worried for you, child. I hope you understand whatever anger you may sense from him is not the feeling at the source. Please forgive his rudeness. Lastly, Dusa, you are not permitted to address the prince unless first spoken to. You are invisible to him. Now, are we understood? Alas, you have seen much of Hypnos lately, child. I hope you find his disposition somewhat tolerable. Please tell me plain if this is not the case. The three fates are my daughters, yes, my child. However, I am no more privy to their workings than the naive mortals living up above. Not even the Olympians can know the weavings of the fates. They typically do not. But you are family, child. And why, I believed Athena wise enough to understand why someone such as I would seek her in particular. She has in turn made others in her family aware. You are enshrouded from them, child, for your own benefit and theirs. They know as much as necessary to assist, and I trust they shall, for as long as you require. They are bound to one another as family, and they know that you require aid. Do not be too prideful to accept. I always knew, in turn, that you would learn the truth of it eventually, and I was fearful of what would occur after that time arrived. I'm grateful it has come and gone. Though, tell me, I still find I call you child. Is your preference that I cease to use such terms from this point on? It is more than all right, my child. Your birth mother left a strong impression on us, child. It was apparent she was from a far-off place, and yet she brought with her a lightness I had not experienced before. My first impression soon subsided, and I grew to care for her. You possess many of her finer qualities. Please, you must not ask such things of me. I swore a binding oath never to say. I have already circumvented it as much as can be done. Go find her, child. Then you shall understand. Do not despair, as I told you before. With effort and with time, most any setback can be overcome. Even your father. You have come closer to your goal. Achieve it. You need not fear for me, my child, for I am not some underling your father has authority to punish if it pleases him. I am the knight, and it is by my grace that this house stands. Your father knows this. Thus he and I have certain common goals. We are obligated to cooperate. Please, that is something I am not at liberty to say. When you meet your birth mother eventually, you shall understand. Your father and I sometimes convince ourselves. I am pleased to see the two of you on better terms of late. Megara always was as she appears, dutiful and quite particular, thoughtful and dependable, respectful. We each have our commitments to this house, Megara. There is no shame in yours. And whilst your sisters are away, you bear their burden of responsibility as well. And so, who else is there to be depended on? You are a trusted overseer, Megara. Your station is no accident, and there is no one better fit for what you do. I urge you to look inwardly. How you approach your work is vital to the end result. We all do that which is within our power. We have an understanding, Hades, yes. He is your own son, after all, and therefore your responsibility. I, in turn, have my commitments to this realm and to this house. You have aided me in them, so I remain, as ever, in your debt. Hades, my relationship with him remains unchanged. It is the very same relationship from when you first requested I take care of him. He has my full support and always shall. You must know this. He wishes now to leave. I shall make no attempt to stop him. I was here long before your father. The responsibility to govern fell to me, yet I could not manage on my own. I shape the darkness, ensure the integrity of the domain. I am less prone to census-taking and administering rules. I receded from such responsibilities. I was quite skeptical of him at first. I thought his presence merely a cruel trick of fate. But he worked diligently from the start. Soon there was order where once there was none. I fashioned this house for him, and I maintain it still. We remain in partnership, in interdependency. No, child, he has not. He can be short with me, as you have seen, but that is the extent of it. We have found ways to reconcile disagreements, though your relationship with him, it is more complicated than my own, I fear. You have confronted the exalted shades within Elysium, my child. Your father offers them a handsome bounty should they bring your journey to an end, although I think the pride of vanquishing you would more than suffice in getting them to take up arms again. You nearly gained the surface, child. Considerable progress, though the setbacks that you faced within the temple, if it is of any consolation, the foes you faced there have been quite a burden to your father, too. Do as you must. Your victory is within reach. Your father is not here and you are back. Then it can only mean one thing. Are you all right, my child? You know his weaknesses better than anyone. Better even than he. It pains me to know that the conflict between you could not be settled in some other way. But if this is how it has to be, destroy him for me, next you fight up there. However long it takes. Would you do that? Lord Hermes is a point of contact, yes. Among Olympians, he works the closest with our operations here, and aids with shepherding the souls of the departed to our gates. Accept his help, for he is faithful to our cause. Listen to me, child. What you know or do not know is for your protection. Your protection and your birth mother's as well. Your suspicion and your curiosity are warranted, but I can do no more about them now, except to caution you. Are we understood? I saw you took possession of the list of minor prophecies of the three fates. As ever, I should never have doubted my daughter's expectations. I was uncertain you had necessary guidance to select it from among the house contractor's many opportunities. You know exactly what is necessary and no more. I know better than anyone never to tamper with the fate's design. Though, if they had cruelty in store for you through their list, I think that I would warn you anyway. You have fulfilled already many prophecies envisioned by my daughter's child. Although perhaps inevitable, I find it impressive nonetheless. The fates have perfect knowledge of exactly what is necessary for the future they have woven to someday come to pass. We each are instrumental to their ultimate design. Some more than others, it would seem, of course. What is it, child? Is something amiss? Ah, yes, no need to speak of it again, though I am pleased to oblige. I thank you for the lovely flowers, child. They make my corner of the house hospitable. Such simple comforts never were for me, and yet, now that I am surrounded by them, I have found that I enjoy their presence more than I would have admitted in the past. This point is closest to the center of the house, to its foundation, and therefore to the center of the entire realm. How very forward of you, child. I accept your compliment, although I am the night, as you observe. The night conceals all. I know nothing of the loneliness which you describe. This entire realm, it is a part of me, and many of its subjects sprang from me alone. You must have vanquished Megara, my child, for she has been sulking in the corner there for quite some time. You are safe here from her whip, but not her words. Neutrality ceases to be an option when a crisis rises to a certain point, Megara. You yourself shall have to choose allegiances. I have steadfastly told you this throughout our shared ordeal. Use caution with the tone you take with me, Overseer. I am the mother of the fates themselves. I do not act by whim or by mistake. Mind your own station and perform your role. All shall unfold eventually as it must. I like the intervening time no more than you. To doubt is an important instinct, Megara. Without it, we could not conceive of better circumstances than the ones we know. Besides, I am the knight. Others shall always doubt me. You may doubt me again. I ask only that you heed well your intuitions from now on. I do know where to find you, Megara. You shall always be the best determiner of what is right about such matters, Megara. Though if you seek my blessings or encouragement in this particular pursuit, please rest assured, you have them both. You know the way from here. You are already doing what you can to help, my son. Continue doing so. Matters are at stake here concerning you and all of us. Your support and choices in this shape the outcome that shall come to pass. Farewell. You have been served a pact of punishment now, child. I thought to talk your father out of it at first, but it may serve to let you grow your power even more. It is a point of fact. If you can overcome the conditions of the pact, your influence throughout this realm shall surely grow. Though do not overextend, of course. Hold, child. I have a message for you from my daughters themselves, concerning the blade of the underworld in your possession. They wish for me to impart to you these words, so that your blade, in turn, may hear them uttered from your lips. I see your kingly pardon from a prison of stone. Repeat them, and remember. I shall, child, although I'm certain they already know. Though whether they are aiding you, or this is simply what must come to pass, I cannot say. It means nothing to me at all, my child. Though why do you invoke such names within this house? Who is this Skelly, and what do you presume is the connection that exists between us? Achilles moved throughout these chambers under my own shroud, if you must know, and thus you have in your possession the infernal arms. But I have not exerted further influence than that. Is this skeleton to be trusted, then? Now that you have regained your access privileges to the administrative chamber, child, yes, that is the level of authority you hypothetically possess again. That is a question only your father can answer, child. I cannot tell you more than you already know. You can be made aware, though use discretion if and when you need to exercise this power, and make certain that the time is right. Now, are we understood? He has offered you aid repeatedly. At first I saw it for a brazen act of bribery, but try as I might, there was no deeper underpinning to his actions that I could detect. That is to say, the records you seek may be found in section Sigma Phi Alpha, lower gamma folder. Your father found a certain peace from song, my child. Perhaps with this reprieve, our Orpheus shall reconsider and resume his craft. Your father's temperament is easier to navigate when he is in relatively better spirits. And my opinion is that punishing the court musician does not further your father's goal with him. That sounds to be an agreeable outcome for him, though his liberty is not the end of his rehabilitation. As his friend, please make certain he does not run afoul again of your father, child. Our court musician brings a certain peace to this abode, my child. But you may discover, once you find his case files in section Zeta Pi Omega, upper beta folder, that the consequences that he suffers may be quite in excess of his trespasses. You need not thank me, child. Your actions made this outcome possible. I merely did what anyone in my position would have done. Achilles. We would struggle to put someone comparable in his role. Though, be that as it may. Epsilon Iota Theta, row folder, middle, I believe. You are certain about this, child? Oh, I can see them, my child, and I have. And it pleases me Achilles has earned some degree of respite from his servitude, for all his loyalty to our house. For what you have done for him, thank you. Your father is committed to his rules, and you released Achilles from his pact according to those rules. There is not much that even he can do about it, save to have Achilles sign again. That I cannot say, child. It is peculiar having daughters who know every outcome that shall come to pass. It puts a strain on our relationship, and I have learned never to ask they tell me more than they are willing to impart. It pleases me that you and Megara have come to deeply understand each other, child. I must admit to you, it was my hope that you and she were capable of this result. I have no fear that Megara shall be distracted, child. Besides, such matters are more likely to inspire and to spur greater accomplishment, although the greater sense of contentment tends to be a sufficient end unto itself. I have no such fear for either one of you. You both are dedicated to your tasks. I trust your friendship can withstand your confrontations every now and then, for that is why the friendship blossomed, is it not? You and my son. It pleases me to see the two of you have grown so close of late. Thanatos has always led a solitary life. He never would complain of it, and yet I know he yearned for closeness in his way. Then in this you each achieved what you desired. I ask that you take care of my dear son. I often fear that he shall work himself too hard. Then may the bonds of your friendship last for as long as this house shall reign beneath the earth, here in the dark. Take care of my dear son. You are consorting with the severed Gorgon head, my child, despite my wishes that you maintain respectful distances between yourselves. I do. Then very well. But understand that your relationship with her does not preclude the need for her continual improvement with respect to her responsibilities. At first I was deeply concerned that you were spending so much time with Dusa, child. It seemed unbecoming for the both of you, and threatened to disrupt our custodian's routine. Except it pleases me to say that, in this case, I was mistaken about you. I was mistaken about both of you. That you would influence her in a harmful way, yet here in point of fact she has performed her duties with increasing skill. That she would fail to perform her role or to learn well from her mistakes. Please do continue to look out for her. I sensed this outcome, and it pleases me. Though you never would have simply discovered such a thing. They each are unique artifacts that must be given willingly if they are to retain their shape and power. The severed Gorgon head is not without redeeming attributes, my child. Though I expected this companion would soon find its way to you, the way the two of you have grown attached. Thus, in one action, both of you have found encouragement. Among my many children, both those born to me and surrogate to me, you are one of the most thoughtful and most generous of all. Ah, a crystal bottle come all the way from the highest peaks of Mount Olympus to these depths within the earth. Your father always said he hated it. Ah, I accept this gift with gratitude. This is a delicacy I have not experienced myself. Perhaps I may yet save it for appropriate occasions still to come. Thank you, my child. By the way, I meant to tell you, child, the ambrosia that you gave me? Rather than hold on to it indefinitely, I decided recently to sample it. Your father's claims about its flavor are quite false. I have never tasted anything like it. You are persuasive like your mother and determined like your father, child. But if you so insist, then I shall not deny myself the simple pleasures of this drink, though rare is the occasion for it here. Oh, then the three fates are whimsical indeed. When you were born, and I was filled with fear for what it meant for you to be alive, to be responsible for you. I must admit I did not guess that, one evening, you would provide for me both such a gift and such a sentiment. I love you too, my child. Child, I know not exactly what you did, but I detected faintly an attempt by Chaos to reach out to me. A message merely at the edges of my consciousness, yet I felt certain it was there. But I could not discern it otherwise. What does Chaos want from me? Now that the house is strong and this realm orderly, I do not know. But I shall think upon it, child. Leave me, please. I know what must be done regarding Chaos and myself, my child. It is not often that I ask for your assistance, but I need for you to do something for me, if you would hear me out. In the administrative chamber you perhaps recall the eldest sigil there. Through it we have access directly to the darkest reaches of the realm, but not to Chaos anymore. Not currently, though this is solvable, I think. That you were stripped of your authority is what makes this possible at all. It shall require a significant expenditure of darkness. Then the bridge to Chaos may be restored, so that I might travel again to visit them, Will you bring darkness to the sigil for me, please? When possible. At last, the bridge to chaos is restored. Thank you so very much, my child. I shall be going then, and I shall presently return. Please have no fear. And now, farewell. I shall bring Chaos your kindest regards. My greetings to you, child. How unusual that we should come in contact here. Chaos and I had quite a bit of catching up to do. Please go about your business, and I shall see you back inside the house in time. Provided you return there, of course. And thank you for this, once again. It did go well, my child. I appreciated having had a chance to reconnect with my great ancestor. Thanks to your generosity, to both of us. We had to make up for a great deal of lost time. Chaos is comfortable in their realm. I may, however, visit every now and then, keep them apprised of what unfolds up here. Beyond that, Chaos knows better than to exert too much influence upon this realm, beyond having already formulated it and everything. What is it, child? I sense that your concern is of a different nature than it usually is, yet it is veiled to me, somehow. I asked she mind her own responsibilities. I fear she forgets herself in this house. Though you have an informal heir, you are the prince, the only son of the Lord Hades, fate-appointed master of this realm. You shall have the company of gods, not severed gorgon heads. You do not fully know your place, my child. The gorgon head most certainly does not know hers. Please focus on your task at hand and leave her be. She was removed for insubordination and repeated overextension and lack of proper judgment, child. Your affinity for her is the reason her removal was as amicable as it was. Her eagerness to please was to a fault. Perhaps your Olympian relatives require sacrifices, child, but this house requires efficiency and nothing more. If you are bent on undermining my authority, go do so someplace else. I appreciate that you have calmed yourself, my child. As for the Gorgon head, this house needs steady-tempered vigilance, not unthinking devotion. Despite repeated feedback, she refused to approach any aspect of her duties with restraint. She did not understand how to work properly. Despite all that she did, she ultimately was a burden to this house. There was no warning necessary on my part. It seems you have more patience than I, child. And I did not realize you cared. But do not ask again for me to rescind my decision. Are we understood? Your one more chance has certain stipulations, Dusa. If you think it is necessary to exceed the allotted time for your responsibilities, I expect you to ask. You are not the sole bearer of this house's fate. Your temperament toward your work is as important as the end result. Now then, I would ask that you return to your post. Do your best work. And therefore, for your diligence and service, and for having demonstrated such improvement, by my authority as knight itself, I hereby name you Chief Custodian of the House of Hades, and appoint you the privileges implied. Bear the responsibility with honor, Dusa. You are most welcome. The orderliness of this house is a reflection of the realm as a whole. You have internalized this, and understood that a disciplined approach toward work is far more valuable than mere exertion of effort, although you understand the need for exertion as well. Child? My child, you have returned. You are returned. It is you. You are back. You are here. A setback, then. Ah, be unseen. There you are. You have done well. You broke free. You reached the surface. Well done. At last. A word. A word, child. A moment. Here, child. So shall it be. Very well. Then very well. I am grateful. You have my gratitude. It is appreciated, child. I thank you for this, child. You are too kind. How very thoughtful, child. The fates have been unkind. Another setback to be overcome. I am displeased. It is unwise to thusly anger me. Please leave me be. Truly? I knew that you were more than capable. I never doubted you. I had envisioned that you would succeed. Excellently done. Skillfully executed work. Wait. You do not know. Ask her yourself about her time with him. But I have already said too much, and I cannot say more. It is through a concerted effort that the house thus thrives for now, though it shall do so only through continued diligence on your behalf, and that of many others here. It is a good occasion to take brief reprieve, but we need you working to the best of your ability here, Thanatos. Thank you, my son. Pride has been the failing of so many mortals, child, and has brought low members of your family as well. And yet, I am so very proud of you for what you have achieved. I wanted you to be aware of that. I am eternally committed to this house. Long before your father came to rule, I was already here. When he arrived, I needed to do everything I could to keep order and establish with Lord Hades an agreeable relationship. But there is one more reason besides that. A reasonable guess, and not without some truth to it, but no, my child. My reason for helping you is simpler than that. It is because I love you. You may not be born of me, but I raised you like one of my own, and I have cared for you as I am capable. Persephone, the queen, she has returned. I scarce believe it, child. You have brought her back, to all of us. Together, let us find out. Though reminiscent of an older time, it is now very different, child. For one thing, you are present now, unlike before. Everything is all right. Your birth mother, Persephone, her presence has been welcome here, I think. Congratulations on your new responsibilities, my child. So you have reason to rise from here to the surface still. There can be no escape. Your father wishes that this reputation spread, so that the mortals in the shades never attempt what you were able to achieve. It is an honor to be working with you, child. Persephone, my queen, it has been far too long, although the passing of the time was very kind. It is an honor to see you again. Good times, I trust. We are pleased to have you back, although it shall be a difficult adjustment for you once again, I fear. For all of us, I do. You are still in a difficult predicament, my child, and I with you in turn. Those on Olympus think you seek them, even now, that you are my own son by birth. Our deception, well-intentioned as it was, has multiplied in size. But if you reveal to them the truth of everything, I fear the wrath they shall unleash. Perhaps not all of them, but some, at least, shall not take such deceptions well. Your birth mother is resourceful, certainly, though can you say as yet which sort of plan? Indeed. It was a privilege to meet your relatives at last, child. Athena, Ares, and the rest. Confronted face to face, they were much more agreeable than I expected. A night we shall remember, was it not? Persephone told them everything they needed to hear. Sometimes that is the only way with family. Though the Olympians, they are prone to their misunderstandings, are they not? This state of kinship may not last eternally. A sound idea. How is she, child? Queen Persephone, I mean. Has she been well up there in her abode? What is it like? That sounds quite pleasant for someone who values brightness, I suppose. Well then, I trust your visits are worthwhile for the both of you. Hypno still is learning independence, child. Thus I have decided it is best to keep my distance from him temporarily, else he shall continue to rely upon me, even for completing the most rudimentary requests. We have agreed he shall not call upon me for the time being. Based on his rate of progress, I suspect his education shall have been complete well before the dawning of the next age. We have, thank you, my child. Goddess Athena is reputed to be wise, and so she was the one I felt was the most likely to listen to reason, understand my view, and ultimately have a willingness to help. It is most fortunate that I was not mistaken about her. She is wise, child. It is precisely for that reason I expected she would understand. Charon and I have not lately taken opportunities to correspond, but he has always been among the least dependent of my children, other than perhaps only the Fates. This much I know and can assure to you. He always is content to steer his boat. No, he is the one to thank. Do not mistake his lack of speech for lack of cleverness. He serves this house as I do, but he does not answer to me. Ah, yes, the god of war. Among all the Olympians, he often struck me as much more accepting of our kind, born of the underworld. I take an interest in whomever I take interest in, my child. I thank you for the message. I shall, thank you, my child. If the god of war is thus preoccupied with me, well then, perhaps he shall be slower to send droves of mortals to our doorstep here. Do not concern yourself with my ability to navigate my interpersonal relationships, my child. It pleases me Lord Ares told you this. Those of Olympus rarely say such things to any of us here. His interest in the underworld is genuine, and he does not regard me as beneath him, even if the technicality exists. The Olympians and the chthonic gods, we have much left to learn of one another's kind. You have repeatedly received such contact, all despite your father's wishes, child. What is your concern exactly, child? Speak plain with me, or else take not my time. You do not understand the basis of our friendship, child. Lord Ares may not meet the moral standard of the mortals who hate him, or Olympians who shun him, but to me, he is cordial and eager to learn. I am quite capable of forming my own views on him. Thank you, my child. We may seldom have occasion to encounter one another, he and I, but it is good to have another friend upon Olympus, even if Goddess Athena and he are not on the best of terms. Hades, when have I even once been unaware of precisely what I mean to do? I shall bring no harm to the queen, and neither shall your son. Child! Zagreus, do you intend to betray the presence of your birth mother to the Olympians? Precisely how I trusted him to get us to this point. I am the night itself, as you well know, Hades. As I declared to you when first we met, I shall stand by your side so long as you remain the fate-appointed ruler of this realm. Your services were always welcome here. Please acclimate yourself at your own rate. I am available to answer any questions you may have at any time. I can remember feeling similar emotions at the time. However, it is quite unnecessary to give thanks to me this way. You are the queen, safely returned where you belong. I did what anybody would have in my place. Precisely, yes. You are to thank for this outcome as much as I, perhaps more so. For I have little choice but to serve this house. I was created in this realm, and it is everything to me. But you, your loyalty could not have been assumed. Nevertheless, given the circumstances of your life and servitude, you need not have given so much of yourself. The greatness of your mortal days followed you into death. This realm remains enshrouded and obscure by my design and by your father's will, my child. Tell me, what would be the benefit of the attention you would seek? Obscurity is not a weakness, child. Are we understood? Seek to be valuable, not to be known. If you are valuable, then fame or notoriety can be a consequence. Should they become a burden, I can help. Through any setback, you are always welcome here with me, dear child. The nature of this realm, my child, is not fully known or understood, not by anyone within it or above. There is no setback which you cannot overcome. All here is well at present, child. The house stands strong from all your labors, child. You bring me pride through your accomplishments. Go and serve this house. May Thanatos assist you should you cross his path. Remain unseen, my child. The Queen Persephone must be so proud of you. Go, in honor of your birth mother, the Queen. This house is stronger with the Queen returned. Honor the Queen, my child. Your father's spirits have been better as of late. Your birth mother awaits. Go find her, child. Seek out your birth mother again, my child. Persephone awaits above. I know for certain your birth mother waits for you. Go, you know precisely where to find her now. Chaos and I have much catching up to do. How interesting to see you here, my child. Please go ahead and do not mind me, child. Thank you for keeping Chaos company. Go forth, bearing the mark of Chaos. I am afraid I cannot help you now. You shall discover what you seek when it is time. I am preoccupied, so please excuse me, child. My focus is on other matters at this time. Please leave me to my current task at hand. Let us communicate again some other time. Do not despair, child. Such setbacks are inevitable and may be overcome with effort and with time. You made contact with the goddess Athena. She shall be true to her word. The risk is not to me. I expected the Olympians would involve themselves in this eventually. Reveal to them no more than they already know. Are we understood? Then go. It pleases me to speak with you at last, child. So the goddess Athena was true to her word. You and she were wise to use discretion in your task. The risk was not to me. It was inevitable that the Olympians would involve themselves in this. The only question was how. You have met most of your Olympian relatives by now, child. Although the power of their blessings is fleeting here, they shall continue to support you as long as necessary. They are helping you because you are family. Family with whom they do not yet have a complicated past. When your birth mother departed, I bent the light for her, shrouding her path, though I myself could see it. I trust she remains there, and that I am not betraying her confidence by telling you. And you would not have gone far, child. Your father is too proud to accept assistance in personal matters. Do not cede the advantage that you have. I shall do everything within my power to prevent this, as shall you. Your father fell to you as once his father fell to him, although you are substantially more merciful. I know it is a bitter victory at best. Though, tell me, what transpired subsequently that you have returned? Did you locate your birth mother? Oh, my child, I say this seldomly, but I did not know, or I did not wish to believe, that the surface would have such an effect on you. But it seems you share your father's fate, after all. So I now presume. You are bound to this realm by powers greater even than mine. Tell me something. If you knew that you could only see Persephone for but a moment's time, would you still make the journey to her there? Then go and ask them, child. Steady your resolve and find her there again. And use well what brief time you have with one another whilst you can. As mortals do. I swore a binding oath never to say, child. I have already circumvented it as much as can be done. Know that I acted with only her well-being in mind, as well as yours. There are many things that I am not at liberty to speak of, child, through my own binding choice. These circumstances are among them. Suffice it to say that your revival required the extent of my ability, and considerable time. Silence! Tempt not my daughters thus. No, there was not. She has been in danger all along. I concealed her, yes, even from me. But it is not enough. I do not think that you could have found her without the Olympians. And if I did not reveal your existence to them, if they discovered who you are, it would be worse. The Olympians maintain belief that you are trying to reach them. I trust we can sustain this understanding for a long, long time. Perhaps not forever, but long enough to discover a solution, perhaps with your birth mother's help. Do not question my power, Hades. Your son was bound to be discovered the closer he came to the surface. The Olympians are pleased to know they have a distant relative and bid him welcome to their mountain. That is all. Their influence is very limited. You would speak to me of foolish mistakes. You cannot change the course that has been set. Try all you like. Child, quickly now, before you go. I know how all of this must look. Know that I was true to her, Persephone, and that I think fondly on the time she spent with us. She did not feel that she belonged. It was a very difficult adjustment she was forced to make, and she feared that she would inevitably end up caught between Olympus and this realm, that she might start a war. What is the matter, child? I sense your distress, not the specific cause. Oh, that is a fair enough assessment. What shall you do? good. Your father was different with Persephone, to some extent. He has always been as you know him, yet her lightness, it affected even him, I think. And he knows that he was better with her than without. She did she? Zagreus. Zagreus, welcome to chaos. You found us, all of us, here. You are here. What a surprise. None of Charon's brothers ever dared fight with him whilst growing up. Why would you fathom such a ruinous idea, child? Probably not, for it is unnecessary. Likely he appreciates having an adversary in his own way. Few would so much as dare. Charon serves only this realm, child, and he is very trustworthy. I suppose that it is also possible he has some affection for the queen, if not for you. I am certain I know nothing of what you mean, Achilles, though your continued service here is more than welcome. The honor is mine. They are your sisters. They are part of your life, whether you like it or not. Your relationship with them is yours to mold. I have a lot more faith in you, Megara. There are many obstinate personalities with whom we regularly interact. Thus, we do what is possible. Do not mistake them for their unassuming look. Within them is the strength of an unbreaking bond between two souls conjoined. I am amenable to the consonance of his harmonies, child. Remember what we previously spoke of, Hypnos. Do not address me thus whilst we are here. Conduct yourself as befitting a servant of the house of Hades. And continue practicing your independence, please. You have demonstrated sustained competence in your duties, Hypnos. It gladdens me to see measurable progress. Your efforts are to be commended. Commended by me. I cannot always look after all of my children, as you know. It falls upon them to take care of themselves, as well as their obligations to our domain. As your mother, it is reassuring to see that you are capable. You are my son. It is to be expected. However, I know it is not effortless to be of use. Continue to do well. I shall be watching. I sense all of the minor prophecies described within the fated list have been fulfilled. I do not understand how that is possible. The fates are always at their weaving. To have caught up with their designs, well, I should think that they shall have to learn to weave a little faster, perhaps. I think you are as well. Then it shall be as you wish. To shine was never quite my strongest suit. During the dawn of creation, there was much to do. This place, all that you see around you, it was more my leaning. Chaos understands that better now. As for me, the work helped me to know which limits I have. Come, child. We each have our limits. I know you care for her, child, and I admit I retain several concerns, not only about the appropriateness of her conduct, but of her reckless inexperience. I do, however, see the possibility that she can work through these issues, perhaps with your support. No, they are required elsewhere. It is for the best. Some of my children are not on speaking terms with one another, or with me. As a mother, one has her victories and her defeats. This house is not a place of cheer, child. A certain severity always struck me as appropriate, if not necessary, given our role. You misunderstand. I am grateful. These changes, I would not have commissioned them myself, but seeing them now, I appreciate their presence. You have a discerning eye. I hardly think that Chaos would attend any festivity of ours. I am uncertain that they even could. Even more doubtful that they would want this. However, if you truly wish to ask, proceed. Only a little bit. The first communication we have had in quite some time. It went better than expected. Perhaps they and I can continue the conversation at some point. Thank you for your initiative, child. Nonsense, child. Our records must be kept up to date. You merely observed that several were long past due. Not even your father can argue with that. You know your father does not like it when nectar is doled out on the premises, dear child. However, I am not he, and I wished, regardless, to provide you a token of my affection. Chaos and I have so much left to discuss. It is comforting to be here again, in such darkness. I shall see you back at the house soon, child. It is odd to have returned to where I was born. We are pleased to see you here, however briefly. As Chaos cannot visit us as easily, now I can visit them. We have another task for you. Your expertise is needed once again. She has departed once again, your birth mother, the Queen. Although it was not as difficult to see her off this time, knowing she shall return. Do not despair. We have ways of watching over her. Not that I expect anything untoward to happen, but, well, with your family, one learns to take precautions, as you know. So shall I, but it shall not be long, I think. You have revealed every facet of the Mirror of Night, child, the full extent of its power. I was aware this was possible, yet you achieved it sooner than expected. The mirror has little to do with your power, let alone your capability. You may deactivate its effects and see for yourself. It merely gave you greater opportunity to learn, and you shall continue to do so. Yes, even among those born longest ago within the deepest reaches of the underworld, I have seldom encountered anyone so united with the darkness of this domain as you are, child. Surely that is not so. Think back on when you started all of this. You now know so much more, are capable of so much more. Well done, child. A commendable result. You have done well. Excellent work. To your continued success, the realm is strong. The house is in order.